time for Seawolf 4. I'm hoping that you already finished Seawolf 1, 2, and 3, and that you've already called me over to show me your work and answered my questions. Okay, if that's the case, again, if this is another day and you haven't, and you're just beginning, you can go in and you can into Sandbox and just open up your previous stuff by clicking on My Files, and then go look for Seawolf 3 and open it. And then once you're there, go ahead and say Save As, and just call it Seawolf 4, and then save. So again, that way we don't want, if you got Seawolf 3 working, we don't want to mess with it anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. The good news about CMU is that they do have a code history, and you can go back to previously working versions of your code. But I wanted to show you a way where you can be proactive about saving a particular version where you had things working the way you wanted to. Anyways, so what are we going to do in Seawolf 4? I'm thinking that what we might like to do is make it so that we can keep a score. Wouldn't that make a game more fun, right? So let's add, I'm going to add a comment here. And make sure that you've updated the comment up here from 3 to 4. Thank you. And here we'll add a comment that says add score to the program. And let's figure out how we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and add a label. Score equals label, and we'll start it off with a number 0, and let's go ahead and position that score kind of in the lower right hand corner of the screen. So I'm going to put it at x equals 350, so it's far to the right, and then y equals 375, so that it's far down, and then we'll make the size equal 24 so that it's big, so that it's obvious. Okay. And let's see here, size equals 24. Okay, then the other thing is we want to make it so the score can be updated. So we will do that whenever a torpedo hits the enemy. And what we'll do is we will go ahead and we will say score, let's see here, let me think about the score dot value plus equals whatever number you want. I think it's more fun to make the score become very big, so just going up by 1 might not be that interesting. So maybe we could go up 10 at a time. And what else? I think that's about it for now. I think that might just do it. And then we'll have to figure out a way how to make it so that in a new game the score gets reset back to 0. So let's go ahead and hit run and try this a few times. We just made a couple of quick, easy changes. Added a score label and then made it so the score label can be updated. So here we go. Let's go ahead and hit run. And I'm good. I got a hit on the enemy. I'll hit R to restart. And we'll try another one. Oops. Okay, let's try this again. I like the fact that I've got it so the enemy keeps respawning. Okay, there we go. Whoa, interesting. Okay, I just noticed that the score is 60. And this is like the first time I hit the enemy, so I'm kind of curious how that happened. Let's hit run again and see what's going on here. Is it because it's going off the top of the screen? Well, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so there is a bit of a problem here. Okay, let me take a quick look and see. Look at how the score just ran up. Let me see what the problem is and see how to stop that. Okay, so I had to do a little bit of an investigation here. So it turns out that the order that you write the code makes a big difference. So one of the things that I changed around is score.value. I believe if you look at your code, I believe we put it down here. And I was kind of suspicious that something bad was happening down here. So I moved it up to the top of if torpedo hits enemy. The other thing is this, is that what was happening was when the torpedo hit the enemy, it stopped moving and it was still hitting the enemy. And for that reason, the score kept going up and up and up. So I added another line of code here where I set enemy.centerx equal to 0. And what that did is when the torpedo stopped moving after it hit the enemy got moved away from the torpedo immediately, so it just scores 10 points at a time. Okay, so again, if you can update your code, move score.value up to here, and then add this line of code. And make sure that all your indentations are the same, okay? These guys need to be lined up perfectly, or you will get some kind of error message that says there's an indent or an unindent problem. Okay, so hopefully you're with me. We're getting close. Now we should have a game that where we can see there's a score. You may not love hitting R to get the next enemy. I'm sure there's better ways to do it. But for now, I'm going to leave it because it seems to be working. You will notice if I hit R and then the torpedo goes off the top of the screen, I automatically get a new enemy, so I love that. I'm going to hit R again, so new enemy, and you can see my score is going up and everything seems to be pretty good. I know that there's some other fancy stuff that I want to do. We're only 6 minutes in, so we're going to take care of a few other things. Let me just think for a minute about what it is next that we'd like to do to improve this game. Let's figure out a way to bring an end to one game of Seawolf. And the way we're going to do that, and this is just one of many possible things we could do, is we're going to give the player only so many torpedoes. So I'm going to add another special property called torpedo. And we're going to call it .count. Again, .count is not a keyword. Count is not a keyword used by CMU, so we can do that. And initially, we'll set it to 5. And again, you can set it to whatever number you want, but this will just give us some way to limit the number of torpedoes that the player has, so that maybe if two people wanted to play and see which one was better, they could check to see who got the higher score. So let's see. So we'll set the count to 5. And then one of the things that we need to do is every time a torpedo hits the enemy, we need to lower the torpedo count. So we're going to do torpedo.count minus equals 1, somewhere here under if torpedo hits enemy shape. Now, the other thing that we want to do is we want to check to see if torpedo is .count is equal to 0, then we'd like to end that round of play for that player. And so what we'll do is we'll set the score.value equal to 0, and we will, let's see. Well, hold on. Okay. If the count of torpedoes gets down to 0, what I think would be best is to figure out a way to make it so that the gameplay stops. So one of the things that we'll do is let's go up to, I'd like to have like a game over custom property, and I could add it to almost anywhere. I could add it to the player. And that might be the best place to put it. I could add it maybe to the announcement label, but I think I'll add it to the player. So I'm going to say player.game, capital OVER, equals false, because when we start, we don't want the game to be over. But when torpedo count gets to 0, we'd like player.game over to be equal to true. So that'll be the end of the game. Now, how do we stop the game? That simply tells us that the game should be over. What we'll do is we'll make it so restart can't do anything. And I believe that'll be enough. I'm not sure, but we'll try. So what we'll do is we'll check and see if player.game over equal true. Equal false. Then, by the way, we're going to indent all these, and I'm going to show you a trick. You simply highlight these lines, and it doesn't matter where you are on the line, beginning, middle, or end, and then hit the tab key one time, and they just all move over, okay? I believe that'll mostly do what we need it to do. There may be some changes that need to be made down here in if torpedo hit shape enemy also, but I think that'll kind of end the game, and then we'll clean up the ending message and that kind of stuff. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and hit run. and then we'll fire. Right now we should have 5 torpedoes to use, so I'm going to fire my 5 torpedoes. And let's try again. There we go. Oh, I'm having some good luck. I'm going to miss one just for the heck of it. And there we go. So let me see if I hit R. Okay, so right now when I'm hitting R, that's it. I'm stuck here, okay? Notice that my score is still on the screen. My final score is still on the screen. But it still says you struck the enemy, and I still see the explosion. So I want those things cleared. So what else can we do? We can, if torpedo count equals 0, then what we should probably do is we should probably go explode dot visible equals false. That'll hide that explosion. And we can go, what else? You struck the enemy is the announce dot visible. Oh, actually, we could change the value of announce and make it say equal single quote game over. Okay, that should be pretty good. Let's give that a try. I'm gonna hit run, and we'll launch 5 torpedoes, and I got to hit R to get my next torpedo. And doing pretty good. Can I get all 5? Oh, I did. Now, the bummer is that on that last strike, I don't really get to see the explosion. That part's kind of a bummer. So there are probably some ways we could fine tune that. We could add a little timer, a little pause before we see the game over. But for right now, this kind of accomplishes the goal. And if you want to rerun the game, you're going to have to press the run button, okay? And that's how we'll rerun the game. So I think everything's working pretty good. I hope you were able to follow along with that. So what did we do? We added score. And we added what did we do? We made it so that we limited the number of torpedoes. That's what we did. And by the way, if you wanted to, you could change that number 5 to as high a number as you wanted to, so that you could just have some fun and just fire, 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 fire. Okay, that's pretty good. We're at 12 minutes in. Let me just check and see if there's anything more that I want to add before we're done with Seawolf 4. Well, I realized that there was a bit of a mistake that I made in the code, and that is that I forgot to account for the fact that when a torpedo is fired and it goes off the screen, right now we do not decrease the torpedo count. So right here is where we detect whether the torpedo went off the top of the screen. And so before we do the restart, let's go ahead and go torpedo dot count minus equals 1. So what'll happen is we will decrease the count of the torpedo when we hit the enemy, and we'll decrease it if it goes off the screen. That should be a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and try it now. So I struck the enemy. So now I'm going to do a few off the edge of the screen and see if it stops me. And do I get to shoot any more? Will it end? Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's not letting me shoot any more torpedoes, but it's also not ending the game. So let me see what else I can do here. Well, I didn't take too long to think about this, and I'm not sure this is the best move, but what I'm going to do is kind of repeat what I did here. I'd really kind of prefer to not repeat code that's already written, especially when they're so close to each other. But just to make it simple, I want to nail this down and get it done. I'm going to check to see if torpedo.count is equal to 0, and if it is, then again I will set player.game over equal to true. And there's no reason to set explode visible to false because we're not exploding anything. But I would like to set announce dot value equal to game over. There we go. And this sort of is like a Band-Aid that could make this work. I'm still not entirely sure that that's perfect because I've still got the restart thing in there. And restart is going to happen automatically the way the code is written. So maybe it might be better to check what the torpedo count is in the restart, possibly. Or another thing that I could do here is I could make this an else. By making this an else, it'll if the count gets to 0, it won't do a restart. It'll just end the game. There we go. And if the count is not 0 for torpedoes, then it will do a restart. So again, I don't love writing redundant code. Most people who write software for a living strive to write code that's reusable. And besides that, there's all sorts of advantages to writing code that's reusable. For one, you don't have to write the code twice or 3 times or however many. And secondly, if there's something that you want to improve in the code, you don't need to go and make that change in 18 different places. Anyways, hopefully this does the trick. I'm going to go ahead and fire a few off the screen and see what happens here. So fire. Will it end the game? No, it's still not ending the game. So I still got some kind of problem that I got to fix here. Let's see here. When the torpedo count gets to 0, I don't know, why not? If torpedo count equals 0, player.gameover equals true, announce.value equals game over. So why did that not get updated? That's kind of strange. The torpedo went off the top of the screen. Let me think about this. All right, I figured it out. It's one simple little fix. What the deal is that up here, when we set announce.value equals to game over, the announce label is not visible. Up here, if the torpedo hits an enemy, the announce label is set to visible true. And if the torpedo count is 0, then it sets it to game over. So here we have to set the announce.value to game over, and then we have to make the label visible again. Otherwise, people won't be able to see it. And that's kind of it. I'm going to go ahead and try to launch 5 off the edge of the screen, and let's try to get 1 score in here. There we go. Okay. Okay. So I did get 10 points, and I did get game over. Unfortunately, I could not see that explosion. Let's go ahead and see an explosion again. Okay, there we go. So anyways, seems like it's working fine now. Again, just like always, I would like you, after you're done with this, I would like you to come over, call me over, show me what you created from the code, and I may have some questions for you that I'd like you to answer. I think that's about it for now. If you made it this far, you did fantastic. And I'm hopeful that by now, maybe you might have some ideas about how to improve this. And even if you don't know how to write the code to improve this, let me know, and I'll make the next few videos that add the improvements that you're interested in. Okay, good luck and enjoy.